Hello and welcome to an episode of the Johnson Leadership Series. I'm your host, Jason Johnson, founder and managing partner of executive search firm Johnson. Today I'm joined by John Doumani, CEO of Zip Industries, makers of the famous Hydro Tap. We're going to hear from John about the story from taking Zip Industries from a family-owned business through the successful growth under the ownership of Quadrant Private Equity to the subsequent trade sale to Culligan, which in itself is owned by Advent International.
I looked at the business and I thought it ticked a lot of boxes for me personally. It was a new market, which I thought would give me the ability to learn and grow. It's a business that was international and a very unique business because Zip is an Australian business that plays on the world stage and is seen as being a global innovator in its space, particularly with the Hydro Tap product. And the other thing that was appealing to me was it's a business that had enormous growth potential. It's very on trend. It's about drinking water in a very convenient way.
What did you find on arrival?
There were some challenges, to be honest. Coming out of a family-owned model, Michael was such a strong and inspirational leader. You take that away, there was a huge void of leadership in the business. So a couple of real strengths and positives in terms of, just the business opportunity and certainly the people, but a void of leadership, a lack of clear direction, and thirdly, some real gaps in processes. And so that was sort of what I felt I inherited 5 years ago.
Great. And when Quadrant came in December 2013, what was their investment thesis?
Their thesis was very much around this is a business that has tremendous growth potential, has the ability to play even harder in our existing markets, but also the opportunity to play on a broader scale globally. And that was what they saw as the real opportunity. We were probably a little bit overly ambitious in the international expansion and how easy it is to do that or how long it takes. We kicked off initially with a trade sale process that generated a lot of interest. There was a realization that there was potentially greater value at going into IPO. For me, it was just a great experience. I'd not done an IPO before. So we went through the whole IPO process, 100 and whatever, presentations. And by the time we got to the end of the process, I think the feeling was the market had closed a bit and was not as buoyant and as ready and as accepting of an IPO as we felt at the beginning of the process. And so we went through the whole process. We got to the end of the IPO literally 30 minutes before signing off on the prospectus and issuing it to the stock exchange. But I think the feeling was there was a concern that, look, maybe the time wasn't right. So we then re-engaged with Culligan, and strategically there was some real appeal of having a strategic buyer like Culligan, a business that had very complementary products to ours. What we did, they didn't do. What they did, we didn't do. Very complementary geographies. Where they were, we weren't. Where we were, they weren't. And also had an international presence that gave us the ability to really take the international expansion to a new level. I have a fundamental philosophy around business. It comes out of my years with Johnson & Johnson and the Credo. And what I believe in is your first responsibility to the men, women and children who use your products, and you never compromise on that. The second is to your employees, that every employee deserves to work in an environment where it's easy for them to do the right things, just get on and do the right things and feel supported in doing so, and that you add value to their skills for the time they're with you. The third is to the community, whether that's around environmental responsibility or philanthropic or whatever. And if you look after those three, the fourth one, being the shareholder, looks after itself.